Thanks for tuning in. This is the Sweet Cyclists, and today we're going to be looking at the Magicshine MJ-906, a 5000 lumen bicycle light. So here we have the packaging for the MJ-906. Comes with this nice premium carrying case. Uses the same Magicshine colors, orange and black. If we open this up, we'll take a look at the contents. You can see, so it's pretty packed in. What you get with this is the head unit itself. It's 5000 theoretical lumens. You get 5 Cree LEDs. You get the external battery pack, and you also get a tail light included with this package. So it's a compelling package. You can see the light design itself pretty similar to the other Magicshine products. You get the kind of metal aluminum fins for heat dissipation, and then a plastic body with the orange buttons. You can see the LEDs themselves kind of don't take much space up, and it's mostly the heat dissipation fins here. If we look in here, this is the tail light itself that you get with it. This is similar to some of their previous ones. You can also buy this separately. This is a wired tail light. It's claimed to be 15 lumens. It's pretty bright. I find the wiring a little bit annoying, and it uses the same kind of rubber mounts that you should be used to by now with these products. Also note this headlight is the black pin, not the orange 4-pin that'll come in the other lights. So if you have multiple Magicshines, you have to be careful about interchangeability. This also comes with the remote buttons, which is a little bit interesting. I find this pretty convenient to use for the taillight. You don't have to go reach over here. You can use one button for the front, one button for the rear. So it's nice, wireless. I'm not sure what happens once the battery dies. It's probably replaceable. You get the standard 6-cell battery. Pretty hefty unit. The straps work pretty well, and it grips the bike pretty well. You got these little rubberized bottom here, and then the 2 straps. It holds it in place. Also with the kit, you get these kind of rubber straps for different style, different thickness handlebars for mounting. You get the normal wall charger. This has a little light here that goes from red to green once it's charged. That's also part of the charger. You get some different straps, and you also get this little extending cable. So this is pretty nice. With this light, it's actually light enough that you can really consider using this as a headlight. So on your helmet, you can helmet mount it. So then the extension cord here makes a lot of sense. You can run this through on your back down to your jersey to wherever the battery's mounted. So really nice packaging, feels really premium, and especially at the price point, it's a lot of theoretical power. All right, now let's go over the fit and finish of the MJ-906. Like a lot of siblings, I feel like the MJ-906 is kind of overshadowed by its bigger brother. So let's look at the 908 at the same time. You can see the difference. This is a theoretical 8000 lumen, while the 906 is theoretically 5000. You might be asking yourself, why is it theoretical, not actual? Seems a little weird to advertise it that way, but what I've read is each LED in here for both units is rated at about 1000, a little bit over 1000 lumens each, theoretically. So whether you have enough battery to run them all at 1000, I'm not sure, but it's interesting that they advertise it that way. So you can see in terms of design, the 906 is kind of a miniaturized version of the 908. Most of the light itself is, as you can see, really just the front part of it. Just the LEDs themselves. And then you have these aluminum fins that kind of take up the rest of the space with the plastic casing. You get a single button interface. If I go ahead, this basically has 4 modes to it. You get a low, medium, high, and then a blinking mode, single button, and then it's illuminated button to indicate the battery. So it's a little difficult to tell how much battery you have left. But overall, the size is really small. I also have the montier here. I can show you size-wise, it's pretty similar. It's kind of the same width as the montier, but obviously much shorter and then much lighter. There's really not much weight to this. And I like the the mounting itself is really nice. I've had some problems with the previous Magicshines where this mount would actually start coming off the head unit. But with this, it's actually a metal piece, looks much more secure. Get a little rubber strap here and then really simple rubber band interface. You just throw it on. So overall, I really like it. The lens doesn't have as much in terms of like beam pattern modes like the Eagle F3 does with kind of a spot and diffuse mode. But I think with 5,000 lumens, this is a pretty nice size package and feels well built. So now let's take a look at the MJ-906 mounted on my Specialized Roubaix. Here it's mounted on the handlebar with a little rubber strap, and I have the battery pack kind of strapped to my top tube. I found this kind of the best placement, especially for a road bike. The battery pack is quite large, and you can see here with the headlight on, it's really blinding. It has 5 LEDs here, and there's not much filtering on the lens, so it is on, even from a close distance, it's very blinding. Strobe mode is close to useless. And you do unfortunately have to cycle through the modes and through flash to get through the other settings. The battery pack is pretty well designed. It's redesigned compared to some of the older models. Really well waterproof with the 4 plug orange connectors too. It's a really nice connection. But it is bulky, so you do have to make sure you mount it well. But I found the Velcro strap to work well. I usually put some kind of cloth behind it to protect the frame from scratching. But otherwise, it's a good light. It's fairly big. It's not as big as the 908, thankfully. Now let's take a look at the beam pattern outside. Here I have the bike on low setting, which is 20%. If we cycle up to medium, this is 50%. You go to medium high, it's a 75% output. You see the claimed run times drop drastically. In high mode, you're down to 2 hours. And once you hit flash, you get about 7 hours at about 75%. Comparing the 3 modes here, you see the high mode is really bright. The beam is kind of a square beam with pretty good diffusion without kind of like a hot spot. I think it's good balance. The only drawback here is it has a lot of spread vertically, so you have to be aware of that. Additionally, I took some side shots of the MJ-906. Here I'm leaning the bike up against a vertical wall, and that white horizontal line is kind of the horizon. And it's really lined up with the light itself. You can see the light has a pretty good spread. It's very even. There's no cutoff here, being a mountain bike light. And you see in the high modes, there's a really dense, bright spot in the middle just from the sheer output of the light. So it's a pretty impressive light. All right, now let's go over the pros and cons for the MJ-906. I think one of the first pros is the compact form factor for the light unit itself. It's really lightweight and small, so it doesn't take up too much space on the handlebar, which also makes it easy to put on and also take off. The second thing is the power output is really great. Even though it might not be 5,000 theoretical lumens, it puts out a lot of light even at low settings. The third thing is the beam pattern is really nice. It's kind of a great square kind of mix between a spot and flood. So you get a nice peripheral view as well as kind of the distance you need to see ahead of you when you're going faster. For some of the cons, I think the single button interface is a little hard to use. It doesn't come with the LCD screen as the higher end models do. So you don't get kind of a runtime countdown and you don't see which mode you're on without putting your hand behind it. This makes it a little difficult to gauge the battery as well because it only goes between green and red. And those percentages are pretty steep, so you'll realize you're red kind of too late into a ride. Another con is that there's not much of a beam cutoff here, so it's pretty blinding. It's more of a mountain biking light, so if you do intend to use this on a road bike, I would be cautious about it and kind of angle it downward. Lastly is the measured lumen output is not published. Now that we've reviewed the pros and cons for the light, let's give it a rating. I think overall this is about an 8 out of 10 for me. It's a really compact and powerful light. I think it's missing some of the key features that make some of the higher end models nicer, like the LCD screen. But for the size, I think it's a compelling package. All right, thanks for watching this review. You can also follow us on Instagram at The Sweet Cyclist, as well as our website at thesweetcyclist.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe this video, and The Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.